Coming up on District Wire News, President Trump is speaking at CPAC today in National Harbor. He's saying that the era of empty talk is over.
And as Black History Month comes to a close, the African American History Museum reaches an impressive milestone. District Wire News starts right now. Good afternoon.
I'm Mitra Gajar.
And I'm Ellie Klossmeyer.
President Donald Trump is doubling down on his Stronger America message. The public and the media filed into the Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center in National Harbor today to hear the president headline today's events at the Conservative Political Action Conference. Trump discussed his policy goals before moving into a message of patriotism and strength.
There's no dream too large, no task too great. We are Americans, and the future belongs to us. The future belongs to all of you. And America is coming about, and it's coming back, and it's roaring, and you can hear it. It's going to be bigger and better. It is going to be. It is going to be. Remember, and it's roaring. It's going to be bigger and better and stronger than ever before.
Trump is the first president since Ronald Reagan in 1981 to appear at CPAC in his first year in office.
As President Trump was preparing his speech at CPAC today, protesters took to the park across from the Gaylord National Resort. Dan Magnato has more.
We will not go away.
Where President Trump goes, protesters seem to follow. That remained true today at the Conservative Political Action Conference, or CPAC. With the president expected to speak at 10 a.m., protesters set up across the street to make their presence felt and voice their displeasure with the president's policies.
So he's made statements that are homophobic. He's made statements that oppress women. He is made many statements that polarize people from many different areas because he's racist and he just doesn't stand for anything that we do.
Immigrants make America great.
The protest focused on the president's policies as a whole rather than any one particular piece of legislation. Some were Women's March participants, while others just happened to live around the National Harbor area and wanted to support the movement.
Well, actually, I live on National Harbor, and I was going to ignore all the crazy, and just go for my morning walk and go back. And then when I was out, they asked me to join this protest. And I figured, why not? I was down on the mall for the women's protest, and so I'm like, sure, I'll go over there and see what's going on. So that's how I ended up here. I really didn't come to be here, but since this is my neighborhood, this is where I live, I'm here.
These protesters drew the attention of Trump supporters and conference attendees who created a counter-movement under the label of Blacks for Trump. For District Wire News, I'm Dan Lignato.
Police are investigating a death blocks away from the Conservative Political Action Conference. No foul play suspected, and officials are now investigating the incident as a suicide. The death has not been connected to the conference, and no arrests have been made at this time.
Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker says Republican congressmen should ignore protesters. In a live broadcast from the Washington Post, he said protesters are angry over issues created by the Obama administration, not Republican lawmakers.
Under Governor Scott Walker, Wisconsin has languished. He's destroyed the middle class. He cut taxes for the ultra-wealthy, defunded public education, attacked teachers, broke unions, destroyed working-class jobs and middle-class jobs. He's been very, very good for the 1%, but he has devastated communities like mine in northern Wisconsin.
According to Walker, working with President Trump to create industrial jobs and abolish unions is the strongest way to grow diminishing middle class. Walker said that protesters not only disrupt progress, they cause more harm than good.
The White House is going on the defensive after the Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus, asked the FBI to dispute media reports that President Trump was in frequent contact with Russian officials during his presidential campaign. Priebus's actions have caused anger among Democrats, who state that his actions violate protocol meant to limit communication between the White House and law enforcement. The FBI has not publicly stated it will proceed with any investigation into the media's claims.
Officials are discovering more information regarding the death of Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. Investigators have discovered that Nam was killed using a drug called VX, which has been called the deadliest drug ever. The substance was put on a UN list of weapons of mass destruction and is deadly even in microscopic amounts. Officials believe that the attack was carried out on orders from the North Korean government.
One of Washington's newest museums is crossing an important milestone this week, and it couldn't come at a more relevant time. Patrick Kavanaugh reports from the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
The National Museum of African American History and Culture has eclipsed more than 1 million visitors since its opening in September. For some, the museum is more than just another building on DC's National Mall.
I'm glad to see something like this open so that everybody can be united and see what's going on in this world.
To others, being at the museum during Black History Month adds even more meaning.
It's really special coming during Black History Month because I feel like this is the time where all of us need to come together and get a little bit of history on us. There's a lot of things that we don't know.
The museum says visitors may spend over 6 hours exploring the over 35,000 historical artifacts, documents, and photography.
They have stuff like the Emmett Till casket and stuff of the past of music, and I'm really into music, so I'm really excited to see what this museum has for me.
The African American History Museum ranks 4th on the list of the most visited museums in DC since the new year.
I'm trying to be like you.
Currently, advanced time tickets are sold out until June, but visitors clamor to get the first few same-day passes, which go on sale online at 6:30 a.m. every morning. For District Wire News, I'm Patrick Kavanaugh, Washington, D.C.
Coming up, the DMV drivers spend hours in traffic during daily commutes. D.C. ranks number 6 in the nation for worst traffic congestion.
Also, the DC Metro may be facing severe financial problems. The DC public transportation system needs $800 million in loans. More to follow after the break.